What's your fan fuel this week? Whatever it is, do it with a 5-Hour Energy, available on 5hourenergy.com, shipped nationwide. Guys, how does the 11-game Cavs win streak, in terms of the buzz and excitement and buy-in from the city, compared to that 22-game win streak the Indians went on in 2017? All three of you guys were here at that point.
Yeah.
I wasn't, so I have no personal recollection. But
Well, Jay wasn't here.
I was here.
Jay was here in
you were?
2017. Yeah. So they're at the halfway point. Is it 50% of the buy-in? Is it more? How did those two compare?
I think, in my memory,
Yeah.
the Indians' win streak was way more engulfed the city. Now, there could be a couple of reasons for that. One's an outdoor sport. It was summer.
Yeah.
There's always excitement going outside, watching a ball game, drinking some beers. And it was 22 games. Now, the interesting thing is, a 22-game win streak in Major League Baseball is what an 11-game win streak is in the NBA.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the same portion of the schedule.
Right.
Good point.
Both are mind-boggling, but I just remember, and you know, we've had some moments in this Cavs win streak too, but the Guardians win streak,
Yeah.
they had come back from being embalmed. They weren't just dead; they had been prepared.
Right.
And they came back and won, and you're like,
Yeah.
that didn't just happen. There's no way that just happened.
And even
I
though-
watched that a couple times in that
Right.
stretch.
And even though it's equivalent in terms of percentage of games, it's much harder.
Oh, I agree.
Because
I think it is.
Well, and baseball's just more random. Like the better team
Yeah.
loses all the
There
time.
have been a lot more 11-game winning streaks in the NBA
Oh, yeah.
than there have been 22-game win streaks
by
in
a
baseball.
lot.
Think about it. You're facing a different lineup because you're facing a different starting pitcher. So
And
you're
that's the
facing
key.
a different lineup.
Yeah,
every
that's
day.
the key to me.
Since I've been in Cleveland in 2011, it's the only time besides playoffs where the Indians have totally captivated the city.
Well,
Since
there
I've
was
been
a
here.
year in Tito, they had to win like 15 of their last 18.
That's true.
I can't remember what year that was.
the end that was when, and I was at. By the way,
That was nuts.
I was at the game when Giambi hit
the
home
home run.
run against the White Sox.
That was probably the epicenter of that whole
Yeah.
stretch.
That was an amazing run.
That
at the
was
end
incredible.
Of the season. But this, and maybe it's not fair because like doing this show and doing a podcast, I'm not interacting with fans quite as much
Right.
as when we were on the radio. But I remember during that stretch of time, especially at the end of it, because it was during football season, we were at bars. Dustin and I were at bars like almost every day, and people were going bananas.
Yeah.
Like the most casual sports fans, like casual baseball fans, were locked in because this was one of the longest streaks in the history of the sport.
It took a month.
So yeah, it was crazy.
August
so
24th to September 15th.
That's just crazy.
I think
Second longest ever.
if the Cavs can get to next Tuesday against Boston with a 15-0 start,
I wish that game was here.
things will be.
If that game was here,
God, it would have been nuts downtown.
That would have been absolutely bananas.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm with you guys. Although Jason hasn't really commented, I don't think yet.
No,
I'd say the Indians.
I'm with you on that, and because of something that hasn't been mentioned yet. You're coming off a Game 7 World Series
True.
appearance
Yeah,
in
yeah,
you're
2016.
right. You're right.
So you're already thinking you got a chance to win you should have won a
Right.
championship.
They signed Encarnacion.
Right. And,
And
he was good.
Yeah.
and you're taking this to mid-September, and again,
Yeah.
you want to be playing your best baseball,
Right.
your best basketball, whatever, at the end of the season.
Right. That's
well,
the
this
difference.
team looked like they were doing that.
Right.
Where this is the first 11 games of the season, and you got a long way to go to April, May,
Right.
and June. So I would say I'm
Look
with
at
you
the
guys.
7 shutouts.
Yeah, I'm with you that was more impressive and like captivated the city, however you want to put it, just because of what you were coming off. You know, the Cavs are coming off an Eastern Conference semifinal, and this is the start of the year. That team was coming off a Game 7 World Series when you felt like you probably should have won a championship, and now you were just a couple of weeks away from another postseason run.
And a lot of people, too, to your point, they said, well, we didn't get it last year, but we're going to get it this year.
right.
I mean, the thought in the city was, because of where it came in the season, this team's playing
Right.
their best baseball at the exact right
Well,
time.
and
then
felt-
the injuries came.
Right, and it felt like in the middle of that, like towards the end of that streak in mid-September, it's like, okay, this team is way better than last year's team.
It was.
They were.
Right.
They
So,
absolutely
Zach
were.
and I have talked
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That 17 team was the most talented team they had. It was better than the
Yeah.
16 team.
Right.
They were ready.
And
And they ran into the Yankees at the wrong time.
They did.
Yankees.
And they had some injuries that, if you don't have those injuries, maybe even the Yankee series is different and everything else changes too.
So they're at 11, which is obviously the halfway point of 22. Does it feel halfway?
I think so.
Because I'm getting to something bigger here. Do you think it's at 50%? Because if you think that, then bear with me on this next thing. So let's say they sweep this week. We talked about it earlier, right? They got Boston 5 games out, so they'd be 15-0 heading into that Boston game. If they beat Boston in Boston, this is the next stretch of games after Boston.
Yeah, I'm glad you did this because I wanted to look and didn't.
Home versus New Orleans, who they beat on the road already, and Zion's now out, who won't be back in time for that.
So you could see 17-0,
Home versus Toronto, who's tanking.
18-0.
Home versus Atlanta. Not very good. Away versus Atlanta.
Still 20.
And then to get to 20-0, home versus Boston on December 1st.
So,
okay, now that would be an absolute,
So,
a lot has to happen, though.
between now and that home Boston game, they're going to be favored in every game except for at Boston.
You're right.
They'll probably be a small underdog in the at Boston game. That's it. Every other game, most of those games are going to be significant favorites.
If they get to Boston and beat Boston at Boston, it'll get to the
eclipse
Guardians.
it.
Yes,
I
yes,
agree.
yes.
It hits
I agree.
what you mentioned earlier about Golden State status. If they beat Boston in Boston to get to 16, we are now on official record watch status.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you're talking Golden State 24-0.
And then, okay, so let's go a little further. To get to 20-0, they have to beat the Celtics at home. Then they got Washington for 21 potentially.
Okay.
Home versus Denver. Reigning MVP Jokic, who
Yeah.
always plays well. That'd be
But they're a
22.
mess and already talking about breaking that thing up.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have some serious depth issues. But that's potentially 22. So Denver. After that, at Charlotte, 23. The record's 24, right?
Yeah.
Jason, you ready for this?
Golden State.
No, that would have been the only thing better.
At the Lakers.
23 at Miami. 24 to tie the record. Home, national TV against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Whoa,
And Giannis.
with Jimmy in the stands.
And
Wow.
let's say they tie at 24 to get to 25. Home, national TV against Embiid and the 76ers.
What are the odds Embiid's actually going to play?
Yeah, I know. By that point, will he even be there?
Yeah, I don't want to get too far down the road.
well,
But
Yeah,
there's
that
a lot of
Mike
winnable-
just got very far up the road.
There's,
All right, if you-
there's
let's
a lot of
indulge
winnable
me
games
further.
in there, though.
They could be 37-0 playing Oklahoma City.
And they could lose to the Bulls tonight. You never know.
81-0 going
Just
into
look at
their
it this way.
finale.
Hey, when Portland comes to town, we could be looking at 64-0, guys.
What will happen next?
Who's game number 82? Let's just cut right to it.
What will happen next?
Indiana at home.
Now, the game won't mean anything for the Cavs. They'll have locked up
Yeah.
home field, home court.
Guys, here's the most important question. What's going to happen next? The Browns win or the Cavs lose?
That's a great question.
That is a really good question.
The Browns could win Sunday in New Orleans. It's a week away.
Cavs
Well,
have
here,
4
if this
games
matters,
to lose.
Jason, they both play. Oh, I lied. Never mind. Ignore that. Sorry. I thought they both played at 1 o'clock, and that means the Cavs would have won before. It's a 6 o'clock tip on Sunday.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm not going that far down the road. I mean, look at it. 20 games in the NBA, that's 25% of your season.
Yeah. That's
Without a loss.
traditionally the 20 game mark is when that's the first time where you can step back and say,
Yeah.
okay, who are we?
You're at the quarter point.
What are we?
Yeah.
I really
let's
want them
assess.
to at least get to that Boston game undefeated. That
That
would be really
fun.
cool.
It would
I
be fun.
might have to go. That's next Tuesday?
Yeah.
I might
A
have to-
week from tomorrow,
I might
correct?
have
Yeah,
to
you're
go
going to have to
that.
write something for
Well,
that.
no, I'll have to go to it. If they get there, if they're undefeated, I'll have to go to it.
Let's go. Let's get Jason to Boston, baby. Let's
The
go.
last thing I want to do is start getting on planes again. That's the last thing I want to do.
I feel that pain. Wow. Man, oh, man.
It's fun.
They have a couple. I'm looking at the full schedule right now, and they got a couple tough road trips, but
Mike,
don't
let's take
have-
it one game at a time, will you?
no. But
50 games down the road.
I'm just saying, like, big picture.
So now they're 64-0. then
Listen, I have
they
that
go to
Portland game
Memphis.
circled. Tuesday, March 25th at Portland, 10 p.m. tip. Talk about a trap game. You got Utah the night before and San Antonio 2 days later. Woo!
By the way, if the Cavs start 20-0, does Kenny Atkinson get named Coach of the Year already? Like a quarter way
Well,
into the
you know, I mean, look, anything could happen.
He's the betting
but
favorite
he
right
is
now.
absolutely. He'd have to be.
I mean, he's got to be an overwhelming favorite, no?
It's too early to be.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City's
OKC
coach. is
But
Coach.
you know
right
what?
there.
Yep.
Here's something that's crazy that you
And
talk
we only
about.
have one super chat, so we got 3 more.
Okay,
minutes
I'll
before I
just
gotta
make this
resign.
point very quickly. When is the baseball announced its manager of the year?
Right
At
after the
the-
playoffs.
thought it happened
Or
at
was
the
it
winter
during the
meetings.
playoffs?
I thought it was during the winter meetings.
I haven't heard who won. I mean,
No,
I
it
was
hasn't
out of it
happened
for a
yet.
week.
Yeah, no.
We could have Stefanski as the reigning coach of the year in the NFL, Stephen Vogt as the coach of the year in Major League Baseball, and Atkinson as the
point.
coach of the year in the NBA.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know that Vogt's going to win. There's some really, Kansas City, Detroit, some other managers had really nice. But it's nice to know that at any given time this year we've got some nice coaches and managers here in the city.
It's true.
Now
Well,
we
the
need
bloom
some
may be
banners.
off the rose a little bit on Stefanski at the moment.
The bloom is off the rose a lot. Yeah, very much off the rose.
I still think he's a good coach. Go ahead and fire him. See how fast he gets picked up somewhere else.
Oh, I agree with you. I think in the right
Talk
culture.
to Aditi tomorrow about what the Cardinals had to say about Kevin's offense.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not advocating to fire Kevin Stefanski. I'm just
No,
saying
I'm not either.
he's not doing a
But
good
he's not
job
having a
this
good year. No doubt he's
Yeah.
not having a
No,
good
it's
year.
a horrible year.
I wouldn't fire him.
But yeah, I'm with you, Jay. I think there's still something there, and I think you're going to find out when he goes to a building that has the proper culture.
But isn't he partly to blame for that?
A
little bit, yeah.
You gotta blame
I
him.
think he is.
Can't
But
put it all on the owner. And
No.
I've killed the owner a million
no,
times.
you're
but
right. But to me, it all goes back to the Deshaun Watson decision.
Right,
Who-
but
who
even
was
with
driving
that,
the bus?
Jay,
You
last
got to make
year
it
he
work.
won
I
Coach
get
of
it.
the Year.
I know, but they
You
did
know.
it without Watson.
Well, not completely. I mean, he played part of the season.
A very small part of the
Yeah.
season.
They overhauled the offensive staff, and it blew up in their face.
That
Blew
was-
up in their face.
That was a huge mistake.